With Rashawn Scott and Herb Waters off to NFL camps trying to stick in the pros, we bring in Cam Underwood from State of the U to help us sort out Miami's wide receiver position with tons of talent coming into the fold, but very unproven. Cam, it's always a good time. Let's talk Stacy Coley right off the bat because he's been the most productive guy in the last 3 years, returning, caught 47 last year. So we may see even bigger numbers out of him this year.
Yeah, it's always good to be back talking Miami Hurricanes football. And when you're talking wide receivers, you have to start with Stacy Coley. He's just supremely talented. He is an NFL player at that position. He's definitely going to be drafted next year, probably in the top 3 rounds. And I expect him to have a very good NFL career. He was a freshman All-American. He was a high school All-American at Oakland Park Northeast High School, around the corner from my mom's house. There's a fun fact for you. So I saw him play a couple of times in high school. I work at a high school and I cover high school sports, and I saw him personally beat state championship level team single-handedly in a couple times in high school. And he's just dynamic. He's fast. He can play inside or outside. Most of the time over the last couple of years, you saw him more in the slot than at the Y or the X or the Z. So more at that Y position. So giving him a little bit of more room to work against maybe not the best defensive back from the other teams. But I think that might change, obviously, this year, whether he's inside or outside. I think the teams are going to identify him and try to put one of their better corners on him. 6'1", 195 pounds, runs in the 4.5 range. When I saw him as a sophomore in high school, I thought he was going to be the #1 player in America as a senior recruit. That's the kind of talent that he has. Like I said before, freshman All-American, scored running the ball, receiving the ball, kick and return, and punt return as a freshman. Had a terrible sophomore slump, but bounced back next year. Far and away the most talented receiver that we have, the most experienced receiver that we have. And so I believe that Brad Kai is going to look his way fairly often throughout the course of this season. Been working very hard with Ron Dugans, the new wide receivers coach, really to tighten up his routes. Mark Richt's offense wants precision. If he says it's supposed to be a 7-yard in, he wants you to go 7 yards, not 6 in a step, not 7 in a half step, exactly 7 yards and in. So working on those kind of things. But I really am looking for a big season from him. Because to get to the level of success that Miami Hurricanes want to have, we have to have our star players show up in big games, like Santana Moss said. And at that position, it starts and ends with Stacy Coley.
The 2 standout games for Coley in 2015 on the stat sheet, 7 catches, $132, and 1 touchdown against Virginia. And then he really shined against Florida State, 7 for 139, also a score in that game. So, Cam, I got to say, for me, Braxton Berrios is the guy in regards to the vets that are coming back that come to mind for me. Can you kind of group together the guys that have been on campus that you need some more production out of?
Well, I mean, everybody else who's not named Stacy Coley basically falls into that group. You have Braxton Berrios, who's a very good friend of Brad Kaya's. They're very close personal friends, in addition to being teammates. So he's a guy who plays in the slot, shifty and quick. Plays, that kind of a game, but he has good speed, so he can run by you. So he's a guy who's going to need to step up. 2 years ago in 2014, he got open in the end zone against Florida State in that game that Miami ended up losing in that comeback. But he got open in the end zone and dropped what would have been a touchdown, which really would have put Miami up, I think, 3, maybe 4 scores at the time. Really would have been a knockout punch to Florida State. So he wasn't able to come up with that play, but he's come up with a lot of plays recently. Over the course of the spring, he played very well. So I'm looking for him to step up. Behind him, or in that same group, you have a Malcolm Lewis, who's a 5th-year senior, a local kid from Miramar High School who had a horrific injury his freshman year, scored in the opener at Boston College, and then at the Georgia Tech game, everybody's seen the video. He got kind of rolled up on a tackle and his ankle dislocated and his foot was facing the wrong way and things like that. And that kind of really robbed him of a couple years of athleticism and things like that. But a very talented kid. Hopefully, strength and conditioning program puts him back in position to play to the level that we saw of him as a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Lawrence Cager is going to play an outside position, either the X or the Z. He's a big kid. He's 6'5", 6'6", probably 210. Almost 215. He's a big wide receiver. Had a nice touchdown in the back of the end zone. I think it was against North Carolina last year. But he brings size and speed to the position. A little inconsistency as a freshman. Dropped a couple balls. which obviously never is a good thing for a wide receiver, but looking for him really to take a leap this year. So those are three guys right there. I know that I'm forgetting somebody else, and everybody's going to write in the comments. I'm trying to think. Daryl Langham is another guy who's been on campus. Size and speed combo, probably going to be to the bottom of that rotation of returning guys. But, if we can get something out of him, then, obviously that would be a major development. But there's a few guys who've been on the roster: Lewis, Coley, Berrios, Langham. Not Coley, sorry. Coley's already been on the roster. And Cager, excuse me. Trying to get my mind right today. So, yeah, there's several guys who've been on the team, but really looking for Berrios and Cager to make a step. Anything we can get from Lewis and Langham would be bonus.
Cager, 43rd ranked wide receiver coming out of high school out of Baltimore in 2016. I know, Cam, you were elated, ecstatic when Sam Bruce decided to come to the U and signed number 8 guy at wide receiver out of Fort Lauderdale, and Dionte Mullins, also Amon Richards. You got 3 guys that all rated top 25 wide receivers in this last class.
Yeah, and I mean, before I go on to this class, Lawrence Cager was a U.S. Army All-American who picked Miami over Alabama in 2015. So that's the kind of caliber recruit that he is coming in. Now you back that up with these guys coming in. I've been talking about this recruiting thing for a while, and I am of the mind with a lot of other people that the Miami Hurricanes got the best wide receiver in Dade County in Dionte Mullins, got the best wide receiver in Broward County in Sam Bruce, and the best wide receiver in Palm Beach County in Amon Richards, all to come down to Coral Gables in the same class. So as we're trying to talk about, Mark Richt only came in with a little bit of time to do a big job of recruiting. He locked down the number 1 wide receiver on a lot of people's boards in all 3 South Florida counties. That's huge. Sam Bruce was flirting with Ohio State going up to National Signing Day. He decided to stick. Amon Richards decommitted after Al Golden got fired, and then Mark Richt got him back again over Alabama, which was his other named finalist. So those, and then Dionte Mullins was a Under Armour All-American, had a nasty one-handed spinning, turning touchdown catch in that game from Jack Allison, the quarterback signee in this class. So that's elite level talent from those 3 guys. The number 1 guy for me is Richards. He's a freak. He had like 2,700 yards and 40-something touchdowns in his last 2 years of high school football, playing 8A football up at Wellington. Led his team to an 11-2 record his junior year, the best record that school has ever had on the football field. And he's just a freak of nature. He can do it all. He's going to play an outside position. He's 6'1", 6'2", and thin. So he's built similarly to Stacy Coley, but their games are very different. So he's not going to play in the slot like Coley. He's going to play on the outside at one of those positions. But he's a deep threat. He can do it all. He can catch the ball, return the ball. Anything you really need from a wide receiver, that kid's going to come in. That kid's going to play a lot this year. Amon Richards, he said that he was going to wear number 4 at the University of Miami. So maybe he wears that. Maybe he wears 82, taking over for Tyree Brady, who transferred out of the program because he wasn't going to play here anymore. I don't know, one of those numbers, but whatever. The name Richards on the back, he's going to play a lot. Sam Bruce, you are Under Armour All-American as well. Richards was a U.S. Army All-American this past year. Bruce was an Under Armour All-American. He's nasty. He's 5'8", but 185, 190 pounds. So he's short, but he's not small. He's stocky. He took gymnastics as a kid. He told the story on the radio when he committed to Miami that his parents wanted him to be more active and get more balance. So the 2 things that he could choose from were ballet and gymnastics. And he has this low voice like me, and he's like, "Man, I wasn't gonna do no ballet." So he took the gymnastics. But I mean, he's a freak. He's very athletic. He's very quick. He can run the ball. Very good in the return game. I'm looking for him to be one of the returners from jump right off the bat this year. And I mean, if you've seen photos and videos of him doing backflip after backflip, you know what kind of athleticism he has. Went to the University of School for 2 years, coached by Kevin Beard, who was the wide receivers coach with, and then transferred over to St. Thomas for his last 2 years, which is the name of a school that speaks for itself. Third and finally is Dionte Mullins, a very, very good player in his own right. Like I said, an Under Armour All-American. Very talented. He's gotten a lot faster over the course of the last year. The sticking point with him, however, is the fact that he was academically ineligible for his senior year. So he has all the physical talent in the world, but academically he fell a little bit short. Now he is the only player, or one of two players in this signing class, as we're recording this in July, who is not on campus as yet, as he awaits admission to the University of Miami. There are many people who say that he has done the work that he needs to do and will be on campus in August. That is what has been said. I am not personally sure of that. It's kind of famous that I asked about what his grades were looking like one time, and his mother is very active on social media, and she took exception to that statement. The point remains, though, that as of the recording of this video, there has not been a determination from the admissions department at the University of Miami relative to Dionte Mullins or Cedric Wright, his other teammate at Gulliver Prep. So putting both names out there, so I'm not playing favorites or anything, not taking shots. But those two gentlemen have not yet been admitted to the University of Miami. And we will look and see, hopefully, that they are. And, you know, whether it comes off as such or not, I have never demeaned Dionte Mullins' talent. This is an elite player. Like I said, I believe him to have been the best wide receiver recruit in Dade County this previous cycle of 2016. There's just a sticking point that he was not academically eligible as senior in high school, and is not yet on campus going on with the team. But hopefully he will be, because along with Sam Bruce and Amon Richards, we need his level of talent on this roster.
Mama's always going to stick up for her boy.
Well, I mean, of course she is, and like I don't begrudge her that point. I'm just saying I didn't say anything bad. I just asked about the academic situation.
All right, coming into 2016, this is how I stand on this deal. If you look at most productive passing games across the country, and you know that Miami's not going to throw it around 50, 55 times, that can't be the formula. But a good 25 to 35 attempts per game with Brad Kaya, one of the best in the nation, would be a good formula for success. You usually have the two guys that catch 50, 60, 70 balls, and then you got to have that third and fourth complement when you go 3 and 4 wide. Coley's the given. The rest of the guys haven't proven a whole lot. So I expect this to be an outstanding group in 2017, but in 2016, they're going to obviously have to have some youth step up, because the guys that have been on campus for a while, you would think that they would have produced already.
Yeah, there's a big void in the passing game. And we have lots of snaps and lots of, like you said, lots of targets and catches to be won by one of these guys or a couple of these guys that we've already spoken about. Just adding on, we did get a junior college transfer, Dale Harris, who was a 4-star kid a couple of years ago. He went to Ole Miss and then got kicked out or transferred or something like that. He went to junior college and he's coming in. He's a 6'3", 6'4", and he's a burner. A lot of people who are very close with the Ole Miss program and follow his recruitment said his number one trait is speed. And that is something that Mark Richt has said this roster is really lacking at the wide receiver position. So all those newcomers, Bruce and Mullins and Richards and Harris also, he factors into that. So, you know, yeah, looking at the top of the wide receivers, it's probably going to be Coley and maybe Berrios, and then probably 3 of the other guys. So if you lump in all of the freshmen and Harris together, so Harris, Langham, Richards, Mullins, Bruce, so 3 of those 5 maybe stepping up. That's something that will probably factor into, you know, who gets those catches. But I'm not going to go too deep into it today, but the tight end group is very deep as well. So we have, you know, 3 game-ready tight ends, David Njoku, Standish Dobard, and Christopher Herndon IV. And, you know, when you look at Njoku, and I talked about this before, how they can play together in different videos, like any 2 of those 3. But if you look at Njoku, he's a guy who we can put in the slot opposite Coley. So you have Coley in one slot, Njoku in one slot, Richards on one side outside, and Harris on the other side outside, and that's an elite level of talent. So David Njoku at 6'4", 245, 250 technically plays tight end, but he can also factor in as a wide receiver / pass catcher, whatever you want to call it, when looking at how this season's going to end up from a passing standpoint for the Hurricanes.
All right, it's one of the glam positions in college football and has been for about 30 years. Wide receiver, Miami. Cam Underwood, State of the U, breaking it down with youth in abundance and speed and talent in the fold for Mark Richt. Appreciate it, Cam.
No problem. See ya.